And it needs Jesus. Until the nation humbles themselves, the leaders of the nation and the people humbles themselves, seek the face of God for a change. That's the only time change is gonna come. I'm sitting out here at the waterfront in the area that I live, and you know, it's so nice to see people out and about fishing, and families riding their bikes up and down. There's a man sitting there. There's some people with their boats in the river. That's the Hudson River, by the way. There's a boat over there. It's a little bridge. And there's more of the park that way. The purpose for me recording this video is I've been wondering for some time, or for the past couple of days, I've been thinking, how can I go about recording this video, and what will I say? Should I write what I need to say down, or just speak from my heart? And I'm gonna speak from my heart. I want to know how many more women need to be murdered by the hands of their spouses for the lawmakers in Guyana and even in the Caribbean, because this is a Caribbean problem too, for them to take the domestic violence cases serious. And also, how many more children needs to be violated for them to really take these cases more serious. This has been an ongoing problem for years and years and years in Guyana, and I thank God that I've been fortunate enough to not grow up in a home where I had a man beating my mother and beating me, or a man molesting me, or anything like that, you know. Was somewhat violated as a child, but not touched. I remember when I was attending lessons, I used to take English lessons in Guyana, and I remember one time I was going to my lesson in the afternoon, and they had this perverted man who used to go around my neighborhood. He used to come around the area like 2 to 3:30 in the afternoon, and he would expose himself to people. And one day he did that to me. He exposed himself to me, and I remember I ran over to my neighbor's house and screamed. I was about 11 years old. I started school early, so I started high school early, and my mom was at work, and I remember I screamed and I ran over to my neighbor's house, and the guy ran away. But he ended up getting caught, and we had vigilante justice. The guys in the neighborhood, they used to really look out for the women and children. There's a lot of single parent homes, a lot of single women. The day that they caught him, it was around when school came out. School came out about 2 o'clock, and they caught him around that time, and it was a whole bunch of kids, and we saw them when they caught this man, and they pointed to us, the guys, and they told him, you see any of these kids here, anytime you come back here and try to violate them, we gonna kill you. That's not why I want to record this video. I really want to seriously talk about this domestic violence situation and how serious it is, and how sad I am that I feel like the lawmakers in Guyana are not doing enough to protect women and children from these abusive Guyanese men. And I want to address the Guyanese men. Not all of them are like this, but I just signed on to KiteShowNews.com to look for this story of this woman. I'm going to put her picture here, Zayla Silgram, who was murdered by her husband and buried in a shallow grave, and they found her body, only to run into another story of another woman was murdered by her husband, and then he tried to kill himself. She had 6 children. She was 39 years old. Zayla died and left 5 children. Now, 11 kids gotta grow up without their mother and their father. Because for Zayla, her 5 children gotta grow up without her, and their dad is gonna be in jail. Hopefully, the justice system works because he has money. Hopefully, he will be put in jail for the rest of his life, or possibly hanged, because not only did he destroy his wife's life permanently, he destroyed his kid's life. He doesn't belong in society. He's an animal. And that's the thing, I don't know what's wrong with these Guyanese men. Why are they so abusive? They are mentally, physically, and emotionally abusive. It's the one culprit that causes these men to fly into such a rage. Most of them are alcoholics, or they're on some type of substance. They're dealing with some type of substance that affects their entire being. You know, they're either alcoholics, or it's a combination of them doing alcohol and drugs and smoking weed, cigarettes, and all. I just want to know how many more women got to suffer, how many more children got to suffer for them to really take these matters way more serious than they're taking it. Zayla suffered 15 years of abuse by her husband, and she was even in the hospital. They were aware that this man beat this woman to the point that she was in a hospital bed. And I don't care if she dropped the charges. It is up to the authorities to, you know what, to pick up the case and to charge that man for domestic abuse, because had he not succeeded in killing her, what if he had gotten into a relationship with somebody else and exhibited the same type of behavior and ended up killing somebody else's child? I'm so tired. I'm so fed up. I'm beyond disgusted by the amount of violence to women. What is wrong with these men? Guyanese men, what is really wrong with you guys? What is wrong with you? Why you consume so much alcohol to the point that you can't even, you black out on somebody and you end up doing something? I don't care if a man puts his hands on a woman one time is too much. You should not be putting your hands on a woman at no time, period. And a woman, if she is putting her hands on a man, she should not be putting her hands on a man, period. Domestic violence should be taken as serious as possible, whether it comes from a man's perspective or a woman's perspective. The man have been in jail for a number of years, putting Zayla in the hospital bed. I don't care if she dropped the charges. He should have been put in jail. He should have been in the jail right now, and she would have been alive. She would have been alive to be there for her kids. To take. Seriously, Guyanese men, what is really wrong with some of you? Don't you know that you're supposed to protect and care for your woman? You're not supposed to be beating her down with your fist and beating her down with your words and being super controlling and all these kind of things. You're supposed to take care of your wife. You're supposed to protect your wife. And yet you use your position in her life to demean her, to make her feel less than the woman that she is. And that is not why God created us women for men. And ladies, you cannot ignore the warning signs. I'm sure people who are abusive, who have abusive tendencies, they show bits and pieces of it in the relationship, and do not ignore those signs. Don't do it. If a man is trying to isolate you from your friends and from your family, and you usually spend time with them, or you're mostly you're a bubbly person, but you end up in a relationship with someone who takes so much from you that your personality begins to change, and you no longer he wants to take you far away from people that you are comfortable with and familiar with. Those are not good. Those are not good signs. You need to get out of that situation as soon as possible. I'm gonna need for the government of Guyana, the lawmakers, the people in charge, the judges, whoever is making laws, they need make jail sentences more severe for men who abuse women. You hit a woman, I don't care what she does to you. If the woman knocks you, don't knock she back. You're a man, don't you just walk away from the situation. And I know some women like to use them being a woman to cause their man to get out of character. I know that every woman has a right, but not every woman is right. So for the girls who are watching this video, who are the type of women that love to push men's button to the point where you feel like you can provoke him and provoke him and provoke him, and he's not gonna do you nothing, and he can't do you nothing, you're wrong for that. Because if the man that you with is the type of man that can only control his anger, you're not even supposed to be in control of your own lives. You gotta let God be in control of your lives, because if we were to take control of our lives, we would be way more violent society. You would imagine once he passion raised, that's it. Then you look for what you get, and even though he may be in the wrong, you are completely in the wrong. Don't provoke somebody to that point. And if your man got violent tendencies, get out of that relationship. You don't want to be with a man who has the potential to beat you, because once he can beat you, he can kill you, period. And I hope and pray that the domestic violence issues will be taken way more seriously, and the penalties will be stiffened. You abuse a woman one time, you listen, you gotta go to jail. You gotta spend at least 5 years in jail, or 6 years or something in jail. You got a lot of time to sit and contemplate why you were there. I think that would to deter men from abusing their women, because I don't care how tough somebody is, they don't want to go to jail. And I want them to get rid of alcohol. I don't care. Alcohol is the #1 cause of death in any situation, in my opinion. Because sober mind will not do certain things unless that person is a psychopath. But once you're under the influence of alcohol, you are capable of doing so many things. Guyana has become such a reveling nation. It's like party this, party that, drinking, imbibing all over the place. You got rum shop every place. And the more that we encourage this type of thing, these type of activities, the more we will continue to have these type of domestic issues. And I'm not trying to be prejudicial or anything like that, but most of the time these type of things happen within the Indian communities. If you notice, yes, within the Afro-Guyanese communities, there are abusive men. There are men who have beaten and or killed their spouses. But majority of the time when these type of issues happen, it's always within the Indian communities. And the only thing that I can recommend is Jesus. Guyana needs Jesus, because only Jesus can turn things around. Only God can turn things around. And until the nation humbles themselves, the leaders of the nation and the people humbles themselves and seek the face of God for a change, that's the only time change is going to come. But until then, the devil is going to continue to do what he is doing, and that is creating havoc. That is stealing, killing, and destroying lives. Too many women have been have lost their lives, and too many women are suffering silently. There is not the outlets for these women to feel comfortable or feel safe enough to walk away from these abusive men and not be afraid that they're gonna come after them. You see in the animal kingdom, you ever see how a lion just treat a lioness? Like, they don't box them down and beat them down. Mostly you find the woman screaming, the lioness screaming at the lion, and he like a little kitten, you know, listening to her. In the animal kingdom, they behave more civilized than us humans. So I'm gonna end this video here. Share your thoughts down below if you found this video helpful, and if you want to share it with your friends and your family, and let's get the discussion going. But the conversation got to continue until something is done. God bless you, and take care. Bye.